This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
Both in your work as an employee or in your business, set that up as a purpose and a plan and a goal in your life to be a blessing. Live your life as a blessing. When you live your life that way, you will run your business that way. If you're not living your personal life that way, trust me, you're not living your business that way. Live your life in such a way that you are a blessing, and run your business that way so that you are a blessing. Number 4, or D, learn to negotiate. Verse 28, he added, name your wages and I will pay them. This is Laban who says that. Now, the reason I put negotiate at this point is because Laban caved so quickly and so desperately. I thought it was kind of interesting. Laban was like, whoa, 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 don't be leaving yet. Now I need you. Hey, I'll pay you anything, whatever. You see, Jacob was negotiating from a position of strength. And he knew what his goal was, and he knew what his needs were, and he knew what Laban's needs were. I'm sometimes amused and sometimes frustrated with Christians who think that they should be passive and whatever comes their way, and in case they're outside, that sort of thing. That's a cop-out. That is an absolute, total cop-out. And it is not taught in the Bible. You don't find that. In fact, negotiation really is taught in the Bible. And here's a classic example of it with Jacob. Negotiation is not compromise. It's so important to understand what valid negotiation is. If you're going to negotiate, say, a salary increase, or you're going to negotiate a lease, or whatever you're going to negotiate, you need to understand what negotiation is. Negotiation is not compromise. It is not outwitting someone. Negotiation is the art of reaching an agreement to the best plan for everyone involved. It's the art of agreeing to a plan that is in the best interest of everyone involved. That is what negotiation is. And the fundamental principle for negotiation is that you have to know the other person's needs. So don't even attempt to negotiate until you know the needs involved. Then, once you know that what those needs are, then you can negotiate from that perspective. And that's exactly what Jacob did. He knew what Laban's needs were. So if you need to negotiate a pay raise or at work, notice Jacob's next statement, which is also a key to success. It's in verse 29, and it is, be fair and honest in all your dealings. Jacob says to him, you know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care. Jacob said, look, he's negotiating at this point, but this is another part of the success in business. Be fair and honest in all your dealings. It's an amazing statement. Jacob had absolutely nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing to hide. And no reason to be defensive. He was saying, look, you know my work ethic, and you know how it has benefited you. When I was managing my staff at the radio station, it was kind of interesting because, let's face it, radio people are nuts. And they're just a little difficult to handle. I was thinking the other day, my former boss named Tom Lamb passed away a few weeks ago, and I was thinking about one of the things that he taught me in business, and how everybody has different principles that they abide by. First, when I went into public relations, my boss, I asked him, well, I don't have a job description because there was no printed job description. He said, your job description is to make me look good. That was kind of the principle. Tom told me one day, he called me in, and he'd gotten on to me all the time because, I was always getting in trouble. I was just breaking into the music side of the business. I've been in news and news talk for a while, but now I was doing the music thing, and he wanted a whole different strategy, a whole different approach. And I was doing things on the air, and it was apparently making people mad. Who knew? And he was getting phone calls all the time, and he'd call me in, and he'd just get all over my case. I got this call, So I was really trying to really be good because, I really did want to succeed at what I was doing there. And so I really started being careful at what I was doing. And sure enough, I didn't get called into the office for a few weeks. And then one day, suddenly I get called into the office, and I thought, what did I do? And I get to the office, and then I walk into the office. I noticed we've gotten into the office, and Tom slams his hands on the desk. And I'm not going to repeat the way he said it, but basically what he said is, "What is going on?" And I said, "Well, what?" I had no clue what he was talking about. He said, "My phone's not ringing anymore." And I said, "Well, isn't that good?" He says, "No, it's not good." And I said, "I thought you got mad at the phone rang and people were upset at me." And he says, "No." He said, "I hired you to break the rules." So that's kind of the way I've lived my life ever since. Everybody has different principles, different points, different things that they want to do. But it's important that we understand that we have to be very transparent, very honest, very fair in the way we do our business. And I told my people when I became program director, and I was working with these people who were all a little goofy anyway, one of the things that I hammered on was be fair and expect to be treated fair, be honest and expect honesty. You know, it wasn't that I didn't want them to break the rules. I did want them to break the rules. I mean, that's how you get noticed, as long as you're not doing something illegal. But it was important to be fair. And if they were fair, they could expect to be treated fairly. And if they were honest, they could expect to be treated honestly. And I expected honesty out of them, and I expected fairness out of them. Anytime you have to resort to dishonesty to succeed, you're a failure. Anytime you resort to dishonesty to succeed, you're a failure. Dishonesty is a character flaw. In business, it's a crumbling foundation. As a Christian, God will most certainly not honor such a practice. And so, Jacob was saying to him, "You know what one of my principles is. One of the tenets of the way I do business is that I am fair and honest in all my dealings." He was also basically saying to Laban, "You haven't been fair and honest in all your dealings." He was drawing a contrast there. And then it takes us to the sixth point, the sixth thing that we have to do when we are in business for ourselves, and that is, or working for somebody, we're in business, and that is that you have to, verse 30, affirm your value. You have to affirm your value. What is your value? Genesis 30, verse 30. "The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household?" Jacob was basically affirming his value. He was saying, "You know what my value is. You know what my worth is. You know how much I have prospered you. You need to know what you have accomplished for your company, and don't be ashamed of that. You need to know what you have accomplished as a business and not be ashamed of that. You need to acknowledge that your value is only by God." I think that's a very important thing to understand and to reveal. You need to make sure that God is the center of your life. Whether you are at work or whether you are in business for yourself, make sure that people understand that God is the focus and the center of your life. It's how you do business. Thirdly, make sure that your goals are in line with your value. Make sure the goals that you set for yourself, the goals that you have, that people know this is what he intends to accomplish, this is what she wants out of life or out of business, that those are in line with your worth, your value to the company. If you have goals that are completely out of line with what your value is, there's going to be a real conflict. I remember a young man that came in, wanted to work for us, and I said, and I asked him point blank, I said, what are your goals? He said, I want your job. So we're not going to get along. I said, because I want my job. He said, well, I just want to learn, what it is that you do. I said, no, you didn't. What you just said was, that was an answer that somebody gave you somewhere along the line, and you thought it sounded cool. That didn't really come from you, did it? No. You got to be honest. You got to be fair with me. If you're not honest and fair and tell me what's really on your mind and on your heart, then we're not going to get along. You've got to be so upright and upfront with me so that I can be upright and upfront with you. If you will promise me that you will be fair and that you will be honest and that you'll be transparent, then I will be fair and honest and transparent with you. And as you discover how you grow and how you develop, I will tell you how much you're growing and how you're developing and how it can benefit you. That guy, by the way, still works for the company, and I got fired. Although he doesn't have my job, I will say that. But you see what I'm saying? It's so important to understand that you are you, and you have to be honest about who you are and what your values and what your goals are. Don't come up with something that's not real. Be the person that you are, but make sure that your worth and your goals line up together. That you are worth what your goals are, and that your goals are suitable to what your value is to the company or to the business.
It's only by your blood, and it's only through